I played a lot of kind of weird games as a kid, and now that I'm an adult, I have this strange compulsion to write video essays about these niche games that nobody else has heard of and make you all listen to me rant about them. So today, we're talking about Eggmania, Eggstreme Madness. It's a fun little game about eggs stacking blocks to escape rising water. Kind of like reverse Tetris, the goal is to get to the top of the screen before your opponent does. However, if you stack too high without building a solid foundation, your tower falls apart. I played this game as a kid, but I never beat it, and after having replayed it now, as an adult, I know why. Quick disclaimer, this is not a review about the game itself, but rather about my nostalgia for a game from my childhood, which means that this review is even more subjective than most reviews. The way I rate my nostalgia for a game is by how much nostalgia affected my perceptions and memories of the game. So, a higher score would mean that nostalgia had more of an effect than a lower score. A high or low score does not indicate that it is a good game or a bad game, just that it is very different than I remember as a kid. This is your only warning for full game spoilers ahead if you care. First, let's talk a little about what the game is. In Eggmania, you play as one of these adorable little egg people. Bebub is my favorite, look at his little eyebrows. Anyway, your goal is to build up to the hot air balloon. Reach it first, and you win. In your arsenal are a bunch of different blocks, a jump power-up, cement filler, bombs, hammers, lightning, but most importantly, trick blocks. Trick blocks are Eggmania's answer to when you get something like a Tetris. When you fill in a line, you get free blocks placed on your tower by the game called trick blocks. The exact mechanics are a little unclear to me, but it seems like the more lines you fill at once, the more trick blocks you get. And when you fill lines multiple times in a row, you get even greater rewards. Trick blocks are the tools that win you the game. Next, there are a few different game modes, like a bomb mode where you try to destroy the opponent's tower with, you guessed it, bombs. There's a solo mode where you build solo. It's long and hard and kind of boring. There's an Eggmania mode, which is like a classic arcade run. And lastly, there's multiplayer. Multiplayer is where I got about half my footage from, and you can tell which games are the multiplayer games because I'm winning in those games and losing in all the rest. More on that later. That pretty much wraps up the description of the gameplay, but before we continue on, I'd like to take this moment to ask you to subscribe to my channel and like the video. I've got a lot more videos like this and other stuff on the way, and you won't want to miss it, so be sure to subscribe. Thanks. With shilling out of the way, let's talk about how my replay actually went. As a kid, I didn't play much Tetris or other block-building puzzle games of the sort, so coming back into this game, I didn't have very much foundational skill in this sort of genre. So, that is to say, bear in mind that I'm not good at this game, and a skilled player may not have had the same problems that I had. However, this review is not being written by a skilled player, it's being written by me. Anyways, I figured I'd be in for a bit of a rough time, but I'm a clever guy, I play chess occasionally, surely I can muddle through against the computer, right? Well, no. The CPU is absolutely cracked at this game, and it can make use of mechanics that seemingly nobody on the internet completely understands, like the trick blocks and cement filler, and it uses them in the most optimal ways possible. Though, to be fair, most of the CPUs don't actually do this, it's just the last few. But even then, the CPU has great APM. It moves fast and it's always building. The mistakes it makes are fixed really quickly, it perfectly cooks bombs so they blow up in your face, and if you try to throw a bomb back at the CPU, it just doesn't work. You either cook it perfectly or the CPU throws it back. Sometimes the CPU just decides to let a bomb blow up out of pity, I guess? But that's rare enough that you're better off just not throwing any bombs. So yeah, the CPU is just a monster on the hard difficulty. But it gets worse. You see, the CPU cheats. The CPU in this clip reacts far faster than any human can. Eggy spots the edge of the jump boost, recognizes what it is, drops his block, and starts moving for the jump boost within 9 frames, or 0.16 seconds. The average human reaction speed to visual stimuli is 0.25 seconds. In almost half the time it would take for you or I to realize that the item is even on the screen, Eggy has made a plan of action and started executing it. But hey, maybe being a little faster than a human isn't really cheating to you. What about being able to input things a human can't? Here we see 4 frame-perfect A-presses in 4 frames, or exactly 1 A-press per frame. We humans can't move our fingers that fast, and even if we could, a GameCube controller has some small amount of input lag, making it technologically impossible to make those inputs that fast, even if we were physically capable of it. But hey, maybe being able to input things a little faster than a human isn't really cheating to you. What about knowing about items and blocks that are falling before they're on screen? In this clip, Yokohama ignores the lightning attack, the only thing on screen, and instead jumps for the falling U block, which is not even on screen yet. Now, in the interest of fairness, I only ever saw Yokohama, the final boss, doing this, but I have a few clips of him doing it. This is just the clearest example. The combination of a very strong CPU with the power to cheat makes for a very difficult game to beat, and I was only barely able to beat it on the medium difficulty. But that's when the CPU's last trick was revealed. Bullying. I fought and scrapped with the CPU and finally eked out a win just for it to say, "Good job! Now do it on hard mode, loser!" The abuse doesn't end there either. If you pay attention to the CPU, it waits before making the last jump to the balloon if you're far enough behind, just to rub it in. Now, while the hard difficulty is in fact very hard, you're never actually required to do it. The only thing you get out of it is a couple of character unlocks, which just give you different skins for your egg. However, if you want that greater challenge, it is there for you to rise to it, and believe me when I say that some of the challenges in this game are extreme. Beating the Eggmania mode on hard unlocks the final boss character Yokohama, who is the coolest character on the roster in my opinion, but we already talked about how hard it is to beat him. Then, if you reach 1 million points on solo mode, you unlock Angelica, the counterpart to Bebop, the deviled egg who is my favorite angry boy. Now, this is a Herculean feat. The only people I've found online who've done it are all speedrunners. My best attempt was 200,000 points, a fifth of the points required. It's hard and long and boring, to be honest. Lastly, if you go on the bomb mode, for each of the difficulties there is another character to unlock. The only one that I took the time to unlock was the one on easy difficulty, which unlocks Sir Eggcelent, the Night Egg. The last thing I want to talk about is the multiplayer. This is where the game truly shines if you ask me. Eggmania is a fantastic party game, and it stands up to this day. My friend and I, Gunner Crow, you should go check him out on Twitch, links in the description. We played the game for way longer than I needed to get my footage, and after I stopped recording, we still kept playing. When you're not playing against an opponent leagues above you, the game is a blast, and I'm kinda considering putting together a small tournament of my friends for the game, so be sure to subscribe. Now, with all that said, it's time to move on to the final portion of the video, where I rank my nostalgia for the game. The game was much harder than I remembered, to the point that I'm certain this game frustrated me quite a lot as a kid. I had a pretty short temper, and this would have had my blood boiling. I'm pretty sure that the only reason I have any positive feelings about this game is the multiplayer. Playing with my parents and siblings is what I remember the most, and I still look back on it fondly. While it's a good game, I don't think I would want to return to playing it unless it was the multiplayer with my friends, and that means I have to give it a 3 out of 5. As always, we're ending things off with an honorable mention, something I liked about the game but couldn't quite find a place for in the main body of the video. The game's music is full of absolute bangers for no reason. My friend and I had the menu song stuck in our heads for quite a while after we finished playing. You should absolutely find it on YouTube and give it a listen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Why is he good at this? He's not supposed to be good at this!
Yeah. You challenged me to explode things.
I lose. You win.
You forget Crow's so apt at destroying everything he loves. This is just impossible.
That's going in the video.